All right, everybody. Welcome to the Contextual Christian Church Bible Study, where today we're going to read Nehemiah chapter 10, verses 1 to 27. I'm going to pray it in. Everybody, bow your heads. Father, thank you for getting us on this Bible study today. For this Bible study, I pray that the context we get into is some interesting context, something that we didn't see coming, something that we may be able to add into our notes. So let's go ahead and get started. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So, last time what we had gotten into, we had finished up chapter 9, and we got some more context as to why they're sitting here crying out to God and what they're doing by praising God. And so, what they're really doing by glorifying God is they're not just glorifying Him for no reason. They were also glorifying Him as a way to plead and beg to Him that He would be on their side and take care of them, because they've constantly had problems all the way back from the time of the Assyrians even till today. So constantly having to deal with enemies around them, around different places. And they even pointed out as a couple specific details that where was it? About how gracious God is and how He's been gracious to them, even in the midst of them being wicked. How He's done so much good for them. And finally, ending with having it in the last three verses where they made a covenant or an agreement and a vow, in other words, that they're going to be God's servants and do what He's called them to do. And in turn, that He's going to be there for them. And that's basically what we went through. Glorifying God, partially with the purpose to plead with Him to stay by their side and be of a help to them. And also them making a covenant that they're going to be God's servants now. They're actually going to do what they had agreed to do the first time that the children of Israel had gone to the promised land. And so now we're continuing from that agreement as we'll go into verse 1 of chapter 10. I'll go ahead and switch it over so our first reader can read. All right.
All right.
You get why I have so many verses, Charles?
I do, but what's up with first five? Am I tripping?
I have no idea. You're not. I have no idea why it was given that extra gap. I even deleted it, redid it. For some weird reason, it keeps giving that excess gap.
I'm ignoring.
I
But
can't. I'm having OCD moments with this, but like,
that's funny. We're gonna try.
You can imagine how much I've been sitting there trying to get rid of that excess space. But
Just for it to keep coming back.
exactly,
But
just didn't want to get rid of the excess.
I'm gonna go ahead and read Nehemiah chapter 10, verses 1 to 10. I'll give it a couple seconds. Verse 1. Now those that sealed were Nehemiah the Tirshatha, the son of Hakah, still Ka, Hakalia, and Zedekiah, Sariah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashur, Amariah, Malkiah, Hatush, Shabaniah, Maluk, Harim, Merimoth, Obadiah.
Don't read the title in there. I just realized that I didn't delete the title there. The
Okay,
Nehemiah 10. Yeah, there go ahead.
okay. Obadiah, Daniel, Ginnethon, Ginnethon. There we go. Baruch, Meshulam, Abiyah, Miya, Miyamin, Miyamin. It's been a while. Maaziah. Bilgai, Bil, Bilgai. There we go. Bilgai. Shemaiah. These were the priests and the Levites, both Yeshua, the son of Azaniah, Binui, of the sons of Henadad, Kadmiel, and their brethren, Shabaniah, Hodiah, Kelida, Peliah, Hanan. All right, so with my section, now we're getting down the list of when it brought up those that sealed. That goes back to what you just brought up, what we were talking about that they were coming together to make that I used the wrong word yesterday. Covenant, agreement, and they were sealing. They were all coming together to seal this covenant that this agreement that they're trying to make. Um, and with my list, I got it starts off with Nehemiah. From Nehemiah, so from verse 8 or from verse 1 to 8 are the priests. But then in verse 9 and 10, I get the Levites, some some notable names and the brethren of the Levites. These half of these names sound familiar. This is separate from my breakdown.
Only half?
For me, only half at the moment.
All right.
So Daniel, Meshulam, Abiyah, Azariah. Of course, I'm not gonna say Nehemiah. Obadiah, Yeshua, Binui, Henadad, Shabaniah. Yeah, those are the names that sound familiar to me. Not all of them.
Yeah. We read those back in Chronicles, a bunch of these names. It makes sense now why I was pointing them out in Chronicles. These were all the people that were involved in these different things. So similar names to them. So it's not necessarily saying it's the same person. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
And I'm glad that getting rid of that title portion fixed it. It's all uniform now. But anyways, back to it. So yeah, so we're getting the people, as you said, that are the ones that are performing the acts to establish this covenant, to make this agreement an actual agreement. And we started off with the people that were some that were the leaders, and then we started getting into the priests and the Levites, just getting a general term. Good. Now, does anybody have any comments or questions as we go to the second section? Now would be the time to raise your hands. Oh, before I do start reading, so Charles, why did I have so many verses in at one part?
I can only assume that you had so many because they all fit on the screen, and I can actually read them, even though my eyesight's real bad. I can actually read all of these from the Zoom,
Not just that, that is part of it. The fact that it did fit is part of it. But
and then it's names too. We're just going down the list of names too, like
well, actually, no, that's not the part of the reason. Thomas, why do you think we have so many verses in each one today, rather than the normal 15 we would do across 3 sections?
Just continuation of the context. Making it easier for the next first session to be more understandable, I would say.
Yes and no. There are times where we've left it off. The bigger reason is the fact that all these verses are so short. We've never had so many verses in a row that are so short. Can you imagine if we did just like what was like when I put these all together? These verses, all of them put combined together, look like 2 verses, not even 3. They look like only 2 verses because of the amount of names that are even in it. it's not that much. So because each verse is so small, take for example, look at here for 11 to 15. If we did just 11 to 15, I'd have to go out of my way and put extra gaps to make sure that it fit properly, which would make it less visible too. So part of it is keeping the context. Part of it is because the verses are so short that it's more of a hindrance to do to do the 5 than it is just to do the whole thing.
Yeah, because what it'll take us 2 days, and then we can get to the context.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but like the taking longer just for names, that's one part, yeah. But the fact that look at all these verses that have only 3 names, and there's not even an and. And we're talking about if we consider the names as words, we have 3 words per verse for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Well, no, not 20, but like 20, we only have 2 words. That's the whole verse is 2 words. At a certain point, it's too short to keep by itself. So this was an unexpected problem, but that's the reason why. All right. Now, does anybody have any comments or questions about the first section before I go to read the second? That'll be the time to raise your hand. Give it one more chance because I had to do the explanation. All right. Then we're continuing down the names. Verse 11. Mika, Rechol, Hashabia, Zakur, Sherebia, Shebania, Chodia, Bani, Beninu, the chief of the people, Parosh, Pachat Moab, Elam, Zatu, Bani, Buni, Asgad, Bebai, Adonijah, Bigvai, Adin, Ater, Hitzkiah, Atzur, Chodia, Hashum, Betzai, Charif, Anotos, Nebai, Magbiash, Meshulam. So again, we're continuing down the names of the people that were part of the action squad, so to speak, that
One more
were.
name.
Oh, what?
There's one more.
I'm missing
There's
it.
one more in verse 20. It's Hetzir or Hetzir.
Oh, I
Yeah,
accidentally deleted it when I was fixing it.
it's all good. I just said it.
Thank you. Yeah, Chetzir. That's the last name. I gotta double check this next time. Well, no, hopefully we don't have anything that's this short where we gotta do this many at once. But anyways, continuing the name. So Chetzir, I didn't put on there. But anyways, that's more of the name. But in my section, we got a little bit different. We got the chief of the people, and so the standouts, so to speak, or the best of the best type thing of the people. Now, the reason that we know that this is talking about plural and not talking about a position of authority is because we have so many names listed from it. The chief can mean one of 2 things. It can either mean the standout or most important or best quality, like the chief cornerstone is the most important cornerstone. In the same token, it could mean the most important of the people or the ones that stand out of the people. Or it can mean the position of chief. And the way that we can tell, as like through here, is whether or not it goes up. It goes into that. So, anyways, you guys have any comments or questions about the second section as we go to the final one for today? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right, then go ahead, Charles, and finish us out.
All right, I'll be reading Nehemiah chapter 10, verses 21 to 27. Give it a couple seconds. Verse 21. Meshed, let me double check this name. Meshez Beel, Zadok, Yadua, Yaddua,
Not
Palati.
Yadadua. It's not a double D. Yadua.
Oh, I got two D's on mine. On the when I go to the phonetic
Yeah,
YAD.
but you're saying duh door. When you do that Yad, it's like Matt. You don't say Matt's with you.
Like Yadua. I'll just leave it at Yadua.
Yeah. Think like Yogi the Bear.
Hey, boo boo.
Hey, you do.
Next, I got Paladia, Hanan, Anaya, Hosea, Hananiah, Hashub, Hashub, Halo, Halohesh, Pileha, Pileha, Pilha. There we go. Shebek, Rehum. Yep. Rehum, Hashabna. Double check that. Hashabna, Maasei, Maaseiah, and Ahia, Hanan, Anan, Maluk, Harim, Harim, Harim. There we go. Baana.
Got caught up in the doubles, huh?
A lot of them. Yeah, that's all I got in my head now. Now we're continuing down the list. We didn't get a change, so we're still at the list of like the chief, like the leaders. No,
No.
not the leaders. The best of the best. I'm
Okay.
sorry, best of the best.
If it would have been the leaders, it would have said the chiefs. If it was multiple people, that could have been accurate if there was an S at the end of it. The fact
Yeah.
that it's a single chief, that could only mean one person or multiple of the select or best or most important. So good. Now then, do you guys have any comments or questions before we pray out the Bible study portion? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right. Then I'll go ahead and pray us out from the Bible study portion. Everybody bow your heads. Father, thank you for this day of study that we were able to have. And the fact that these verses were so short that we were able to put them together, even though normally we do about 15 verses a day, but it forced us to put it in position to be able to get faster through it and still be able to understand clearly. And just as they made a covenant and they made an agreement, and they're the ones that sealing it, we've also made a covenant with you that we are going to strive to do better in our following of you. We've made an agreement for those of us that have been baptized according to your word, that we would be following you, not just gaining salvation and grace, but the effort and love to live your way, to give our very best. And so, God, we praise you and we thank you. And we ask for forgiveness for any sins we committed before now, in our thoughts, in our words, or in our actions. In your Son's holy and precious name, Jesus Christ Yeshua. Amen.
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 All right. Now, on to the Bible listening portion. Tonight's Bible listening is Songs of Solomon, chapter 3 to Isaiah, chapter 11. Again, that's Songs of Solomon, chapter 3 to Isaiah, chapter 11. Let me know when y'all got it. I know that
God,
one's a lot longer to write down.
I got it.
All right. Now, last night's listening was Proverbs chapter 26 to Songs of Solomon chapter 2. And we'll go ahead and have Thomas go first. Then we'll have Charles, and then I'll finish this out.
Can I go second, please?
I will tell you no, but do it anyways. Go ahead, Charles.
all right. Um, so I'm gonna start mine with Proverbs chapter 27. Why did I write down this verse? Proverbs 27. Let me go to this. Matt, did you already write that down before I say it? I got others.
Verse 12.
No, no. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 1. Did you already write that one down?
No, 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 I didn't write that one down.
Okay, I had to ask. Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. I had, you know why I had to ask you, because this is when you talk about all you we bring it up a lot. I need to start bringing that up as well.
Yep.
I need to make sure that whenever if I say that, oh man, I applied for this job, man, they gonna hire me. What happens if they don't? Then what? They didn't hire me. Oh well. Oh man, I guarantee I'm gonna get this position. Oh well, I didn't get it. Now what? Right?
I
Oh, I
already got it in
guarantee
the
you.
bag.
Or like me, years ago, I used to say, oh, you know what? It's Texas Hold'em. I'm gonna pull up at a certain time. Everybody's gonna be drunk. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do that, and I'm gonna just start winning just off of them being liquored up and not making the right decisions on the table. I end up losing $1,000. Now, how stupid I look. I was too confident, thinking I was gonna take everybody's money. Then I lose 1,000.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's the first one I want to bring up.
All right. That's a good one. Thomas, you got anything you
Nothing
want
to
to add
say
on
on that
that?
one. No, sir.
All right. Charles, you pretty much said it all. I mean, the point is there. Like, don't be boasting about what you're going to do tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Why are you sitting here talking about like you're going to be doing something tomorrow? You don't know what's going to happen. The fact of boasting or acting like you even have tomorrow is crazy to think about. Like, we don't
Mhm.
realize how amazing it is that the amount of years that we've had are available on this earth. We don't think about that, but it's a fact. All right, good. Go ahead with your second one, Charles.
The second one I want to bring up, I don't. I hope it's in this one because that was one I heard where I kind of laughed because I heard it more before the Bible than in the Bible. Yeah, same chapter, verse 17. This is something I've actually heard I've heard a lot of people use it, and they let me explain. Verse 17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friends. Now, I've heard this a million times over being brought up, and how iron sharpens iron. So, Charles, you need to, be careful who you hang around with, and you need to hang around people that are like iron, and y'all can sharpen each other, and this
Yeah,
back and forth, right? But when I hear them use an example of iron sharpens iron, they'll bring up a situation where they say, "Oh man, well, look at my situation. I got my wife, I got this, I got that," and they're going in a divorce. So much for iron sharpen iron, right?
yep,
Oh man, look at this. Here, a family will talk to me. Hey, little Charlie, look, this is how you need to, carry yourself. This is how you need to carry yourself around your people too. You need to make sure that you surround yourself with other iron so you can sharpen them while they sharpen you. And then they'll bring up a family member. Oh, this is how we get down. This is how we do this. This is how we do that. Now there's such a confliction. There's such a separation. These family members will never be cool. But before, when he brought up iron sharpens iron, he made it seem like this particular family member was the one that sharpened him and he sharpened them. Two uncles that won't come together, two uncles that will beef with each other, two uncles that can't put things aside to make things happen, to be there for family.
yeah.
Even
It's
if it
completely
came
out of
down to a,
context. Yeah,
it can all the way go down to a funeral. They won't even show up at a funeral with, oh, if he's showing up, I ain't going. The other one will say, if he's showing up, I ain't going. Come on, this ain't got nothing to do with y'all. But this is how stubborn you guys are.
Exactly. Thomas, you have anything you want to add on that?
I swear, every single time I asked to let me go second, Charles takes one of mine. That was one of mine.
You gotta stop going second then.
But on that,
Oh,
I just want to speak on regards to what we have now. Like, thankful for the brotherhood, where we're all able to sharpen each other, and that in a nutshell. So appreciative for that.
Well, good. And one thing that I will definitely add on to that, Charles, nowhere in the Bible does it show that what iron sharpening iron means is that we are enemies with each other. Iron sharpening iron is we strike each other in the essence metaphorically. So you could try to take it out of context to say that, but you're building each other towards something. And the
right.
one thing that's different between that and the versus the way people use it and how it actually is intended is the effect of it. Thomas, if you and I are beefing, if we got real serious problems, are we sharpening each other and making each other better?
The opposite.
Exactly. It does the opposite. We end up having these problems to the point that it makes us where we can't even be around each other. Well, if that's unity, is part of the requirement for the church, is that unity? No. So then what is iron sharpening iron? Iron sharpening iron is I see you make a mistake and I strike. I give you correction. I see you do this wrong, I correct. You see me slip up, you correct. Sometimes with loving words, sometimes with harsh words. That's what our iron sharpening iron is. Like boxing. There's a big difference between boxing and fighting. And the biggest difference is self control and motivation. Charles, if you and I were to box, are we going to have problems afterwards?
No, we better not. I'm not gonna have no problems. We knew what we were doing
Exactly.
going in.
Now, if I was to box Eddie, would there be problems afterwards?
1,000%. 1,000, 1,000,000%.
And it
Unfortunately,
would start off as friendly, right? Like
it
just like it
would.
could start off positive, but you get that one good hit in, it's no longer friendship. Like it's
It's
not
on.
that it's right. And so the thing is that with iron sharpening iron, the way you can tell the difference if it actually is that or not is if it leads to a more godly future. That's how you know if it's iron sharpening iron. Because it could be iron striking against wax. No matter how many times iron strikes against wax, is it going to get more sharp, Charles?
No, it'll dull.
It'll dull. So we got to make sure that when we're using that verse and we're using it in its context, it's not iron sharpening iron if it's dulling you. It's iron sharpening wax. And at the end of it, both are useless. A wax sword can't do nothing. A dull iron rod can't do anything. So that's the point. All right, go ahead with your last.
Um, Ecclesiastic, if I'm saying that right. Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verses 9 and 10. This is the, here, let me read it. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. No new thing under the sun is what made me write these two things down. Um, I think it was already said before in a separate Bible study, in like a separate chapter, separate book. But I always have to, I don't have to always keep it in mind. But it's one of those things where it's like, whatever's going on in the world, I just have to take it as maybe Caesar dealt with this, maybe Alexander the Great dealt with this, maybe I almost said Shaka Khan. Who's the guy, the Mongolian guy? He dominated all the stuff. Something Khan. Um, he's probably
Uh,
I forgot who it. I keep thinking Shaka Khan in my head. It's not Shaka Khan. It's a different Khan. He was a Mongolian ruler. Like I think of all these other rulers and all these other nations and all these different time periods. They probably dealt with the same crap that we're dealing with now. Two political sides that can't get along, laws that are passed that we all don't technically we don't agree with. Just the whole mess that we got going on. I guarantee you they dealt with it too, in their own sort of way. Nothing new under the sun, in other words.
good. All right, Thomas, you got anything you want to add on that?
No, sir.
All right, I ain't got nothing to add on that one myself. All right, then good one, Charles.
Definitely.
Thomas, go ahead with yours.
All right. First one's going to be Proverbs 28:13. It says, He that covereth his sin shall not prosper, but whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy, which is a great verse that I love. And it's pretty much speaking on people who tend to justify their sin or to hide their sin that they're as if they're not committing any sin. Yeah, in the forefront, they look honky dory, but in the back end, they commit sin after sin after sin. But God sees all. So you can sit here and think that you're hiding your sins and stuff like that. But in all actuality, you're making a fool of yourself. And you better get right before you get left. But
Always love that phrase.
yeah. And so pretty much hiding sin it leads to ruin, but confession it leads to mercy. God's mercy over your life for all your sins. Jesus died on that cross for a reason, not for you to go hide behind closed doors and commit sin, which is crazy, man. But yeah, that's it.
Good. Charles, you got anything you want to add on that?
No,
I got only one thing. This verse is not just true when it comes to sins, but also about doing wrong against people that's not necessarily a sinful thing. My family is a perfect example of this. Not to bring no hate or shade their way, but it just relates so much to this. Pretending like we're a good, happy family when we're in front of people, but behind closed doors, there's disrespect, there's lying, there's not having the backs of the ones who are in the right, playing favorites, all the extra stuff. There was abuse at times and other things. So then we look at the future and where we're at now, they're still dealing with the same exact problems. They haven't changed at all. As a matter of fact, some of them have gone backwards in life. So it's not just sinfulness that it also works true on. It's also doing wrong by individuals and pretending you haven't. Because when you're doing wrong by somebody, it's not necessarily a sin that you're committing, but you are still doing wrong. So that's the only thing
Yep.
I'll add on that. And that was a good one too, Thomas. Go
Yes,
ahead with your
sir.
next one.
Proverbs 31, verse 30. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord shall be praised. How many women we see nowadays over there flaunting their beauty and whatnot? Well, I'm beautiful. You ain't got nothing on me. You a peasant to me. But I swear by the time you hit 40, 50, them looks are gone. If you ain't right with God, you ain't really got nothing. Because that beauty don't last forever. But pretty
You
much,
know what I go ahead, I'll say it afterwards. Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
It's something I heard online. The final boss of prostitutes
Oh yeah, hear this.
is the women who gave their body up to anybody and everybody, but then they want to become so-called church-going women when they're at that late stage. Now suddenly they want the godly man. Now suddenly they want to do right. Now that it don't matter no more. Now that you're already past the age of being able to be realistically having healthy kids and everything without any risk. Now that you're past the age of like where man would get the best years of your life with him, where he could have his own children and everything. Now that you're past all that, now you want to be a church woman, the final boss of prostitutes. So that's what crazy, but it is true what I heard. And it works in the same way. It's vain, it's fleeting, it doesn't stay. Do you remember what I showed you? What the actual definition of vain, what it really means? Simplified,
Pointless,
Thomas.
empty,
Yeah, pointless and useless.
useless.
Favor is deceitful, and beauty is useless and pointless. Yeah. What does it benefit to have a beautiful woman? The attraction, maybe. Maybe your kids grow up healthy and all that. But outside of that, it's still not benefiting anything. But a God fearing woman, just imagine not even just your family, the amount of people of church and of the town and the city that you're in that she's helping out. A God fearing woman, there's benefits to that outside of her personal self. And there's benefits to herself, way more than things that are focused too much on beauty. But good. And what go ahead. Unless Charles, did you have something you
Yeah.
wanted to add too?
I got one thing to say. So when you're talking about and I'm not saying like a woman that's because we ain't met one yet, but let's say there's a woman that's going to church, doing all of these things, doing the Bible studies, loyal to the husband. Haven't y'all noticed too? I've noticed this all my life. I haven't had one person ever around me where they looked at the person that was God fearing, that went to church, do the Bible studies, loyal to the husband. I've never had someone around me that said the best looking chick is above her. Never in my life. Even if she wasn't the best looking God fearing chick. It just off the fact of her being loyal, her being consistent, her being the woman that everybody wants, that cooks and cleans and all that. They go look at the good looking chick and be like, man, she fine and all, but this other one got everything else. All this other
Yeah.
one got to my right, all she got is the good looks. But to my left, she has everything but the good looks. So yeah, that's all I want to say to that. But a lot of men praise it and celebrate those kind of women that are
Yeah.
actually that loyal.
Even if it shows a little bit of that, they praise it.
Hmm.
But here's the
Hmm.
thing too with that is as you said, you haven't met one yet.
Not
Neither have
not
I.
contextually. Contextually, no, I haven't met one yet. But
Yeah, same
the
here.
the ones that come close, we're gonna all look at her and be like, oh man, she's dope. She's cool.
It
She needs
used to
to.
be the difference in the past between sexy and beautiful. That was really the
Mhm.
difference in the past.
Yeah.
Sexy is looks, beautiful is soul. Now today we say sexy, beautiful, fine for any kind. I've seen women that I'm not trying to hate on them, but let's be honest, they're a straight negative too. And I've heard
Mhm.
women say that they're baddies.
I
And
hate
I'm
that
like,
word so much. I hate
I'm
that
sorry,
word.
no, they're not. No,
Oh.
we gotta even when it comes to the beauty, they be lying about it. And let me say this, and this is the last thing I'll say before Thomas goes to his next section. Just because someone is not beautiful does not mean that she will be a woman that fears the Lord. Let's get that right too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't know how many times, like growing up for myself, even outside of church, even on like just having morality at all, outside of church. I used to want to date women that I looked at as very unattractive because I thought that if they are unattractive, they'll work harder at morals, they'll care more, they'll be more invested. That was a lie. Had me sound like Maury. That was an absolute lie. Looks have nothing to do with character. You can be beautiful and not be vain. You can be a woman that fears God and still be beautiful. On both sides, it can be true. But if your focus is the beauty itself, if that's what her focus is on her beauty and not on following God, that's where that separation is. So let's not get it mixed up at all. Like just because somebody's ugly or just because somebody ain't the best looking, no matter how you want to say it, trying not to hurt people's feelings, that means absolutely zero on whether or not she's going to be following God or willing to try. And at the same token, just because somebody is beautiful, that doesn't mean that her beauty is because she's vain. She could just be naturally beautiful, or she could care about her how she presents herself because of some situation of the past or something. So if the focus is the beauty rather than the godliness, that's where it's a problem. And that's where this verse comes in. But let's not mix those two up. That's the only other thing I'll add on that. All right, go ahead, Thomas.
I'll took my last one.
What was your last one? Which one?
Ah, man, yeah. Hold on one second. I got it right here.
I think it was
Going.
Proverbs 27.
No, 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 no. Iron
Cut
sharpens
you off in the
iron.
past. Oh yeah, yeah,
27,
yeah.
17.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All
Appreciate
right.
it, though.
Then I'll go ahead with mine. So my first one, I was hard pressed to choose between it because there's two of them that always stick out to me from this chapter. Proverbs chapter 26. Now, I could either do 4 and 5 or 18 and 19. But I guess I'll stick with 4 and 5 this time. So, Proverbs 26, and this is one of my most quoted. Not the most, but it's up there. Verse 4 and 5. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. This verse I've said so many times, bring it up because it's so important, so imperative to people that are trying to preach and teach and live for God. If you don't say anything at all when somebody spouts some foolishness, you make them seem as if what they're saying is true or accurate. That's what it seems like if you don't say anything at all. But if you get caught up in an argument with somebody who's a fool, who's not trying to hear the truth at all, you get caught up in that argument. If a wise man argues with a fool, who's really the fool? He's no longer counted amongst the wise. He is a fool. And that's why that one will always stick out to me. I was going to bring up the one about just kidding, but I'll save that for next time. That's Proverbs 26, 18, and 19. But yeah, so do you guys have anything you want to add or say about the 4 and 5?
Now, I'm glad you brought it up. So I wrote it down, but I was like, nah, he quotes it way too much for me to bring it up. I would have thought if you did not have brought if you didn't bring it up, I would have been like, yeah, I'm the fool now because I should have just brought it up.
You try to leave it for me. Hey, if you would have taken that, I could have done 18 and 19. Now we're talking about JK in the Bible.
The 18, 19, I don't remember it as much as 4 and 5. That one, once I heard it, I was like,
Right.
Matt.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. My second one is chapter 27. And there was two of them I could do from this, but they're all both single verses. 12 is more important. 14 is just funny because I feel like that was just speaking about me. But in 12, a prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. If you can have some discernment and realize that some evil is in your pathway, why in the world would you continue walking down that path? That is about the dumbest thing you could do. It's not the dumbest, but it is close to it. To know that something is not going to go the way you want it to and still continue. And mind you, this isn't just with knowing that evil's coming. This is also when knowing that something is not going to work out. If I've already, I'll give an example. If I've already prayed about a relationship I wanted and God answered, no, this is not the woman for you, and I elect to be like, well, it was done in such a weird way. I mean, he didn't act, like, was it actually no or was it not? Like, try to play it off like it was confusing, as if I didn't remember the prayer I said and how I made it so specific so it can't be confused. And then later on end up in arguments and leaving that church in a bad way, all because of that. See, it's not just in foreseeing evil, it's also in foreseeing problems. You are stupid if you see problems are coming your way or things are not going to work out and you still continue on. Oh, actually, I hate to do a call out, but we've had this conversation so much, I have to say it because it just relates. Charles, how many times we had this conversation?
Give me an example.
Volvo.
Oh.
We've all by the laugh, you already know, Thomas, that he already knows what we're talking about. Other things, well, I just want to give it a shot. You've already driven the trucks, you've already had problems with it, and you've driven other trucks that you didn't have problems with. Why would you go out of your way to purchase a truck just to prove a point that maybe it could work out? That's dumb.
But
So,
man.
yeah. Goodness. That's what I was when I heard this, Charles. That I'm not trying to hate on you. I'm not trying to throw no shade, but I'm telling you, I saw you in my eyes like you were right in front of me. I'm like, this is Charles. I'm
You
gonna
didn't
do
just
it
see
because I
me.
want to figure it out.
You didn't just see me. You imagined me driving the Volvo.
Yes, I did. And then I imagined the air leaks popping off.
Oh yeah. And then you imagine me going home to a Volvo car.
Oh my goodness, Charles.
Oh man.
Funny as heck. All right, so anyways, do you guys have anything you want to add or say on that one before I go to the last one? All right. Then the last one is Proverbs chapter 31, verse 8 to 9. And this, if you guys should really write down this verse in verse 9, especially because people love to take verses out of context and say, well, the Bible, like, we're not supposed to judge. Mm-hmm. Verse 8 and 9. Open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Remember, the biblically, that the word dumb means an inability to speak properly, to an inability to communicate vocally. So open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. What did that just say we need to be doing, Charles?
Judge righteously.
Judge righteously. Ah. Doesn't the Bible say that you don't judge lest you be judged? Yeah, but not in that context. So actually, no, because that's not what it's actually saying. So when we look at it from that perspective, that's the whole point. So if anybody ever says, well, the Bible says not to judge, no, it doesn't. That's not the context. And on top of that, here goes Proverbs chapter 31, verse 9. It says, open thy mouth, judge righteously. Ah. Now, the judge in 9, is that talking about condemnation or salvation, Thomas?
No.
Exactly. See, the judge in 9 is talking about discernment and treatment, not having respect of persons, treating people righteously. That's what that's talking about. The judge that Jesus is talking about, where says not to judge, in that context, it's not talking about damnation or salvation either. But in that one, it's talking about don't be a hypocrite. You're judging someone, you're trying to condemn somebody for something that you're doing yourself. So on both sides, it's the same thing. When we are called to judge, as in discern, as in balance the scales, test what's right, what's wrong, all of that. We are not called, and we are actually told not to judge in the aspect of saying someone is going to hell or heaven, because we don't have that ability. There is only one situation in when we can even judge in the response to that and have an accurate statement, and that's if somebody has never obeyed the gospel, somebody has never accepted Christ. That's the only time that we can ever sit here and say that person is not right with God. If they're teaching false doctrine and it's about stuff that has to do with how you accept Christ, we can say without a shadow of doubt that they're not. They're not going to paradise. But somebody who has accepted Christ but had multiple sins they struggled with, if we could even call it a struggle rather than a choice, we can't say if that person was given grace on that. God gives grace to who he gives grace on, and mercy to who he gives mercy on. And God has wrathfulness on who he has wrath on. That's his choice. But that's why this one is so important. Literally saying for us to judge righteously and to plead the cause of the poor. So we have to open your mouth for the people who can't speak for themselves when they're appointed for destruction, and open your mouth for the ones that are for the poor who and needy who are in who need help. All right. Now, do you guys have anything you want to add or say on that before we close it out? All right. Charles, correct me if I'm wrong. I got one question. Have any of us brought up the Proverbs 31 woman?
Proverb. Thomas did one in Proverbs, right, with the woman. 31,
No,
or
but
was
I
it
mean
another
as
one?
a whole. Have we ever had that in our listening of the, like, because I was planning to bring it up a couple times, but I left it out in case for you guys. because
don't
it
think I
does stick
brought
out.
one up that I don't think I brought one up that pertains to women. Thomas brought up one, but I don't think I brought up one yet that pertains to women.
Yeah, because Thomas brought up one verse of it, but he didn't bring up the thing as a whole.
Yeah.
Thomas, have you ever brought up the thing as a whole?
No, I have not.
All right, I'll be the one to bring it up next time we go through this. Because I was just thinking about it as I was leaving it for you guys, but I was like, it sticks out every time. Like, what a like type of woman we're supposed to look for a wife. Sticks out every time. But anyways, um, I'll go ahead and close us out. Y'all have a good night. Oh, and Charles, I'm gonna call you in a sec.